Well, anyway, so it comes down to the last round, and we're going to race Karamazines, right? So that's
The legend.
Yeah, that's the equivalent of racing. You're going to race God in the next round.
Yeah, right.
Okay.
You met your match. Huh?
Okay, and I'm pretty sure that he was running better than we were that day by a little bit, probably. And God knows he could have, he had more experience, I mean, that guy really is good, right? Always was good. So, at the time, Karamazines, the Greek, and Donovan are thick, right? Donovan's helping sponsor some of his deals, his car.
Mm-hmm.
So Donovan's there with him, right? And we always got along great with Donovan, but of course now he's on the other team, right? And so we figure out that we don't have enough fuel to get to the end, or enough nitro. And by now we're running 97 or whatever, right? And so this is the end of 64, and I know we're running almost straight nitro, and there's nobody to borrow nitro from. This is before Junior Fuel came around.
Yeah. So
No one at the drag strip runs the can, right?
Right.
Except us.
Right.
So there's nobody to borrow it from. And we don't have enough to make a full pass. And we're thinking, what are we going to do here? We're in a real, you got to race Karamazines and you don't have enough fuel. That's a big problem. So we thought, how about if we'll go into a real nervous act and we'll just act like we're just so nervous that we can't stand it and see if they'll go for it. And Karamazines won't try and leave on time and let Mike because Mike was, well known for being able to leave on anybody.
Right.
But we needed the Greek to kind of, because like in the winning deal, he runs the 780 run. Yeah. 81, we run the
781, 797.
797. So I mean,
over a tenth.
Yeah, we need some advantage, right? So we thought, okay, we service the car, put in every last drop of fuel we got, and I think we might even lean it down a little bit so the mileage would be a touch better and blah blah blah. So anyway, we at Riverside you pushed around turn 9 backwards. Yep. So when we push around, they're up on the high part of the track, so we pull up right next to them on the low part, and we get out and we're just fumbling around, and Mike did his part too, so he's just all and he's pretty high strung anyway, so throwing a little acting on top of it was quite a sight, right? So we're all just stumbling around, and Donovan, he's kind of leaning back, and
we got this one.
And the Greeks watching this deal, and they're just kind of smiling, just dropping tools and stuff. And
oh man,
they went for it, hook, line, and sinker, right? So I think they were push starting still. So we pushed down the track, come back down, fire, turn around. We're still doing our deal. They're just, we got this deal handled right. Mike leaves. And in the picture, you can see how much of an advantage he had.
Oh, 2 lengths.
Huge.
You can see how much smoke's coming off the tires.
Yes.
Mike probably got a little carried away.
Yeah, but he's into it. He's moving
hitting
now.
It pretty hard.
And the Greeks
kind of just
a little no smoke on the front half.
Right.
He's
going to ease his way into this.
Yeah, which he would always do because he's a real driver clutch. Back when you had to do that kind of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, and so that's the race. The race starts, and we're standing there going, this may not work out too well, And fortunately, I mean, I don't know, it must have been inches.
Right.
Anyway, we just giggled all the way home. We just thought that was scary.
Oh, yeah.
He took the money and giggled all the way home,
Well, you got to be careful.
You don't do that at the creek.
No,
or
Or the mole, yeah. How's how we doing for articles? Got one more left for the end of the year?
We're just, that's the new.
Okay, well, let's finish. Let's top off. Let's end the year.
Still Fontana, December the 13th. And competition for top eliminator honors was hot and heavy as usual, with 11 cars qualified to run. 6 of the 7 were running in the 7s, and all were below 840. There's a 785, looks like. There's a 783 for low ET. The next two to meet were the Surfers and the Ground Shakers. Sounds like a gang war, doesn't it? Well, there was the long-haired trio of Job and Skinner and Sorokin coming out on top. Ground Shaker Gary Reed, who weighs about 130 pounds, put the big injected Chrysler through the traps in 8:31.179. Nick Marshall and Dave Vermilia really rattled everyone on the next one as they came up with a 784 to turn back Mike Sorokin in the Surfers machine. Mike Sorokin turned an 807.191. So looks like the last race of the year, you got beat in the second round.
Marshall, Vermilio, those guys ran good.
They ran good.
They're
Yeah, they
East Coast
did.
guys that moved out here.
That moved out here and
Yeah.
stayed and kicked butt.
Yeah, they figured it out.
So
Yeah.
Those guys were real good at watching what everybody did, and they were very crafty at learning as much as they could from other people. A lot of the teams weren't good at that at all. And in effect, they left a lot of money, performance, whatever, laying on the table just by not doing that.
Right.
But boy, Nick and Dave, boy, they were.
Yeah. And they ran hard too. You could see, in the movies I took, I mean, Brissett and Sutherland and Marshall and Vermillion were very much hard chargers out the back end, it seemed like.
They ran a 250 down kind of combination, sort of the Keith Black
Mm-hmm.
kind of combination. Very conservative, nice, very nice combination. But you can't lean on it real hard. You can't run the can in it.
Right.
Doesn't work.
Right.
we don't have a count for 1964, but quite a lot of wins,
I think so.
quite a lot of runner-ups,
Things,
a couple of
things stepped
it's
up
too
quite
cold,
a
it
bit.
wouldn't start,
Yep.
that kind of thing.
Yep.
But that was everybody's bailiwick. That happened to everybody. But I think in '64 you definitely made a name
Yes.
for yourself. You weren't just those guys. You were somebody to be reckoned with.
Right.
There were guys that came in the pits and said, "Oh, the Surfers are here. We're in trouble."
Yeah. Well, you could tell they were here because you could hear them.
Oh, that was always the best.
And that
I don't care where you were in the drag strip.
And you would
That's the
run.
Surfers.
And you
You
would
could
run
to the fence.
And you would run to the fence.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
The phrase "run to the fence"
Yeah.
was about you
It's
guys.
amazing that everybody acknowledged the sound, and they could hear it and go, "Oh, they know exactly what car that was."
Yes.
No one had ever put two and two together and went, "What's going on here?"
What are they doing different?
They come over and start telling you how you were doing it wrong, or that you should be doing it their way,
Right.
and you're going,
Okay.
Yeah.
"What
Good
are
for
we
you.
missing?" Huh?
It was good for you.
It was
Yeah.
damn good for you.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, one thing, I don't know if this is fair to say, but drag racers of that era, or drag racers period, I think, are really a crafty bunch, and they all have loads of native talent, especially in the mechanical area, whatever those skills are called, and logic, very, very lots of native ability, but they all try to do it with no education, and they're going to fake it. They're not fake it, but what's the right way to just trial and error do it.
Mhm.
And if you think of education as like a toolbox to a mechanic, it leverages what he can do.
Right.
If somebody gives you a pair of pliers and a screwdriver and a dirt lot, how much can you fix? No matter how good a mechanic you aren't going to do nothing, right? You're just out there in the dirt with your screwdriver and your pair of pliers.
Yeah.
And you roll out that big snap-on thing with all the toolbox with all the stuff in it. Same guy, same mechanic, and say, "Hey, can you fix this car out there in the dirt lot?" Not a problem. Roll her right up here, right?
All right, up there.
And the drag racers were the same way. And I'm going to school all day long,
Right.
and I'm thinking, man, these guys. These guys were brilliant. Toreto's old partner,
Ed,
Madden. That guy was brilliant. I think he should have been writing science fiction rather than be a drag racer. But a typical brilliant drag racer, and he tried to do it with no education.
had no money.
The education's more deadly than money.
I had more education than he did. I don't think he finished high school.
Right.
He worked with Charlie Canena at Charlie's Automotive on Normandy and Slauson. with a dirt floor garage where they did repairs. And everything that Madden did was his own idea. He ground the camshafts the way he wanted them. He ran the fuel injector that nobody else ran.
Thank God.
A lot of stuff different.
Yeah.
But could it have something to do with the location? Now, as we talked about earlier, the back east they could only run from after the snow till before the snow. Here, not only did you have mini drag strips, but you had 80% of the speed shops. You had junkyards, hundreds and hundreds of junkyards to get all the parts you needed. So,
And you had guys that had worked on Indy cars and sports cars and stuff like that.
and guys that had been racing since the 30s on the salt.
Yeah.
So there was hard knocks education. Plus, if you tried something and it didn't work, you just come back next week. Unlike now, you got to wait 4 months.
That
So
really points out the fact that Garlitz did as good as he did
by himself,
with none of that support.
no.
Other than what he could get when he came out here.
23 Chevrolet rails and 8 carburetors, and
But able to run year round in Florida, that helped.
probably.
That helped.
And he did. It was his sole proposition. There was no
Yeah, it wasn't fun and games.
means to make a living. He just did drag racing.
Right.
Same as Ivo. Ivo did really good.
Yeah. Guys that were all in.
Well, the 2-engine car and the 4-engine car, Ivo put together in his garage
On the floor.
on the floor. Think about putting 4 engines in a car.
Well,
on a
Kent
garage
Fuller built it.
Yeah, there we
But
go.
Ivo was telling him what to do because he was
Well, whatever, but
definitely
You have
opposed
Fuller
to
and
that
Fuller's
car.
shop.
He was opposed to that 4-engine car from the beginning,
Sure, he had good sense.
and he ran good. He beat Garlitz as often as Garlitz beat him. I'm pretty certain on all those match races that they did.
But he wasn't doing it on a shoestring either. He had some money. So
No, he
certainly
he
helped.
was well funded,
And he was a showman too, and he really he brought drag racing
Oh,
Yeah.
a long
huge
way.
what he did for drag
Sure.
racing.
Yeah.
He knew, like we were talking about Ralph Gouldo, start on Monday. How are we going to promote this race on Friday?
Yeah.
Well, Ivo was on Monday. How am I going to show off on the weekend? And the showing off also brought him the other fame of being a hell of a drag racer, but promoting himself along with the drag races at the same time.